Hello everyone. I'm a couple of minutes late. Had a technical difficulty right as we were starting. So come on in, grab yourself some coffee or some tea or some Pepsi or some Coke or some water. I have my Coke with me and we're going to wait a minute as people come on in and join me this evening. You would figure that right as I hit live, something would happen and go wrong, so I was a couple minutes late. So I hope you come on in and join me. We have 3 pictures for a slideshow this evening, and we have a couple topics that we can talk about tonight, and I really just hope that we can have some time to just sit and talk like we're all in the same room and hanging out with one another. So come on in and join me. If you are catching this video live, you will see a little red box and it'll say live. And if you don't see that box up in the top somewhere, then you are watching the replay, but I still want you to say hello. And it would be really great if you said where you're from so that anybody new joining us has an idea of where we are all over the world. So that would be fantastic. If you're here, go ahead and say hello. We're going to just take a minute to greet everybody and say hello before we get started. Let's see, I have 6 topics that we can talk about tonight and 3 pictures for a slideshow. So we should have some fun if I can make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. I've done a couple of test videos this past week to try to get things right. We have a new webcam, so I'm hoping that you can hear me and that you can see me okay. So if you're watching, just say hello, say where you're from, and if you can hear me before we start showing some pictures. Give me just a minute. I'm going to pull myself up on our group and make sure that that's coming through. I see it. I see 6 comments. So just to let you know, whoa, there is a time lag between what I'm saying and what you're hearing. So there's that we're going to deal with, and I'm trying to get used to. And also just to let you know, like last week's live chat, the comments went by so fast, I had a really hard time keeping up with them. So if I miss your comment, I apologize. I would never ignore you. So just keep that in mind. That probably I'll come back after and say hello or like your comment or answer your questions. So I see, wow, we have several people in here already. Hello, everybody. Hello, Maureen. Hello, Mom. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Patricia. I hope you're all doing fantastic. Hi, Jay and Vicky. It's so great to see all of you here. Every once in a while, I'm going to check my phone and check comments because I don't see them on my screen. So I'll keep checking in. You'll see me looking down. That's what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and jump right into this week's video. I have 3 pictures that were shared on my post from our group this morning. And so we're going to try to go through this slideshow. And I think each Monday that I do this, it might get easier and easier. So y'all be patient with me. But I think I figured out a way to have a slideshow and show off your work in these live videos. So we'll see how it goes tonight. This is my first real run through. So be patient with me. I might mess up here and there. But, you know, I really created this group to be a showcase for you to have a place to come to with your questions, to show off your accomplishments, for encouragement. And so really this group is all about you, and I love to showcase your work. I enjoy looking through your pictures every day. And so this is really something I get to give back to you, is to do a show and tell with your projects. So we're going to go ahead and start our slideshow. Y'all pardon me, I have some tea. Hold on a second. We're going to transition over and let's see. Slideshow screen. See, I've been practicing a little bit. You're going to see the screen change over, and we are going to start, let's see, with Diane's picture. Now, Diane finished this quilt and has it on her bed. Let's see what she had to say about her quilt. It is a ribbon star quilt by Missouri Star Quilt Company. And I absolutely love this quilt. Look how she tied the green stars in with the colors of her room. I absolutely love that. And I can tell that the colors of the red and the yellow really pop on your quilt. Let's see, I might have already said this. Missouri Star Quilt Company is who the pattern is from. I'm also wondering, Diane, if that's where you got your fabrics from for this quilt. I absolutely love this. Whoever sleeps on this bed, I would say, is very, very lucky. I bet they sleep very well underneath of this quilt. So I'm very happy for you, Diane. I absolutely love it. I could probably sit here and look at your quilt all day. So that is the first picture from Diane. And we're going to move over and we're going to look at Darlene's quilt. Now look at this. That is a lot of work, Darlene. That is a lot of work. I am just so proud of you. Just sitting here looking at your quilt. You said you were getting ready to start quilting, that you just finished. This is the quilt top that you just finished this past weekend. I know you are happy and excited to start quilting this quilt. I was wondering, how do you plan on quilting this quilt? What are your plans? And how do you plan on quilting your quilt? We would all love to hear about that. And if you want to write us and let us know in the comment section, we would all love to hear. And what are your plans for this quilt? Is this quilt going to be for you? Are you giving this quilt away? Did you make it with anyone particular in mind? I absolutely love that. That took a lot of patience, and I'm so very proud of you. So for our third show and tell picture, let's see, let's get up Beverly's picture. Now here's Beverly's picture. She made a t-shirt quilt for her great nephew. And I absolutely I am so proud of you, Beverly. I don't know if this is your first, I can't remember from your post if you said whether or not this was your first t-shirt quilt or not, but it certainly doesn't look like your first. You look like you know exactly what you're doing, and I really think it turned out fantastic. I would love to know your thoughts on whether or not you enjoyed making the quilt, if it was something that you would make again. And I would love to hear like your tips for making t-shirt quilts, because we are all different, and certainly we can all add our own kind of insight to making these quilts. So if you have any tips to share with everybody, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would love to hear. So he's gonna love his quilt. That's the thing that I love about t-shirt quilts the most, is all the memories, and they're so unique to the person who the shirts belong to, and just so sentimental. So he will treasure that forever, and I am just really pleased for you for finishing this up for him. And yeah, I love it. I would absolutely love to hear your tips and your tricks and your thoughts about making the t-shirt quilt. So there were our 3 show and tell pictures. I'm hoping that they came through okay. Let's see. I'm going to pause for just a second. I see we have 16 people here. I'm going to be looking down for a minute. I've figured out that this is pretty much the easiest way for me to read your comments. Mom says she's from downstairs. Yes, you are from downstairs. I have a little bit of a funny story about my mom that she won't mind me sharing from earlier today. Wow, hello everybody. I love seeing everybody say exactly where they're from. I think that's really fun, and I've always found it interesting how the internet can bring so many people together, and I absolutely love that. So let me know your thoughts on the slideshow. Were the pictures clear? I was saving them directly from that post, and so you know, it saves them kind of small, and I was blowing them up. So I would love to hear some feedback on could you see the pictures very well? I'm just looking to improve, and I hope you really enjoyed seeing those 3 quilts. And just again, congratulations to Diane, Darlene, and Beverly. I am just so happy for you. That was fun to look at your quilts. Sometimes when you look at your own stuff, even though you may love exactly what you're doing, sometimes it's refreshing to see what everybody else is doing. So I really like that a lot. So tonight we have 6 different topics we're going to talk about. And a couple of them are short and we'll fly through them, and a couple of them we can go into more detail if you want. I'm going to try to, if you give me just a second, I'm going to try. Where am I? Hopefully I don't lose you. Oh, yeah, it's not going to let me. I was hoping I could bring up your comments right here on the computer screen so I wouldn't have to keep checking my phone, but it doesn't look like it's going to let me do that. And I don't want to mess up anything because I finally got it working. So every once in a while I'm going to check my phone for your comments. I'm certainly not ignoring you. So if you have questions about our topics tonight, go ahead and type them in the comments section. Maybe someone else has an answer and they can answer your comment for you. And if not, I'll come back after the live and answer any questions. And I just want you to know I can't see everybody on the screen's names, but I see the number, so I know you're here, and I'm so glad you've joined me tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about our first topic. This is a fun one. I wanted to say a happy birthday to Jan. I saw earlier that today is Jan's birthday, so happy birthday, Jan. I hope you've had an awesome day. I hope you've had cake, and we wish you a many more. And my mom's birthday is on the 4th. So happy birthday early to my mom as well. And so while we're talking about my mom for a second, today we had some fun playing with my jelly plate. She got a jelly plate maybe a week ago, and so we both got our jelly plates out and some paints and some stencils and some magazine pages, and I had the most fun. My mom, after maybe 15 minutes, did not enjoy her jelly plate experience at all. And so I tried to encourage her to keep going, but my mom is a very like perfectionist, and if something isn't working exactly the way she wants, she gets frustrated and she'll just walk away from it. But the good news is that she comes back when she's not frustrated with new ideas. So she was watching some YouTube videos on jelly plates after dinner, and she got more ideas. And so the good news is she's willing to go back and try again. So I just thought that was funny because she just makes me laugh, and I enjoy spending time with her. And yeah, we talked about jelly plates last week. I did not have time to make that video this week, but I look forward to spending some time with you all playing with jelly plates and fabric. Today we did paper. And if you've never heard of a jelly plate, go to YouTube and search, let's see, my favorite thing to do with a jelly plate is jelly plates with magazines, like jelly plate magazine transfers. Do a search in YouTube on that and see what comes up. And I want to do that on fabric, so maybe we'll do a video in the next week on that. So that was my funny story about my mom. The good news is she has not totally given up on her jelly plate, and she's going to play again maybe tomorrow or the next day. So happy birthday, Jan, and happy early birthday to my mom. Our second topic this evening is, in our post, Barbara asked today about hand quilting videos, and I just want to let you know, Barbara, I cannot wait to start making those videos. However, I like to be 100% transparent and honest. I've never hand quilted anything. I haven't had the patience for it up until now, but I've really started like really wanting to hand quilt. And for me, it takes that in order for me to actually start to do it. I have to really, really want to do it. And in the last few months, I've had this desire really to learn how to do it. And so I've set a New Year's goal to start to learn how to hand quilt. And I might make like a baby size quilt and start with a small project and learn some different techniques with hand quilting on a baby quilt. And I would love to bring you along. I already know with the holidays coming up that I probably won't have the patience for it until we go into the new year. But I do know that here on our page we have several quilters that do their quilting by hand. And so I just wanted to let you know this will be my go-to place when I have questions, and I already know that I will have questions. So I plan on coming over here first and maybe taking a picture of what I have a question about and posting that, because I know several hand quilters here, and this is a great place to ask questions because usually we get a pretty good response with answers. And so, yes, Miss Barbara, I plan on doing some hand quilting videos, but you know what? If you can't wait for me, there's a vast, overwhelming number of hand quilting videos on YouTube, and there's so many awesome YouTube creators out there. And so if you don't want to wait for me, I'm hoping that while you're learning, you'll share pictures here on this group just to help me keep my interest for the new year when I start that project. Oh, let's see. We're going to move on to topic number 3. And then after topic number 3, I'm going to check my messages just to see if there's anything in there. But we'll move on to topic number 3. Okay, now this is on a serious note. I just wanted to say that we are all thinking about you in the Bahamas and Florida, all along the East Coast. Whoever's affected by this storm coming, please listen to your weather advisories and prepare accordingly. If they tell you to evacuate, evacuate. And if it's safe to stay home, make sure that you have supplies in case you lose power. We are all thinking about you and praying for you. And we just hope that you update us. Keep us informed on how things are going with you. This page is a good place to come and just check in and say how you're doing. If you want to share pictures of what's going on around your house. But if they tell you to leave, please go somewhere safe and then come back. And we're just keeping you all in our thoughts and prayers. We are in Virginia, and so it looks like this weekend we might get the remnants of maybe a Category 2, but it looks like the last status update that I saw that it was going to come up the East Coast. It looks like by the time it gets to Virginia, it's like a Category 2, but it's off coast. We might get effects from the outskirts of it. So it's all the way from Bahamas, all the way from Florida up the East Coast. So just letting you know that we are praying for you and thinking about you, and we hope that you update us, okay? I really consider you all like family, and so I worry about everybody, and I'm hoping that you update us. So I'm going to just be looking down for a second. I think this is the easiest way to check the comments. So if you want to type a note in the comments section and let us know what you're working on, I would love to hear exactly what you're working on. Oh, Beverly said that's her 5th t-shirt quilt. I think you did a fantastic job. I love it. He's going to love it. Barbara says she has video interruptions. It might be on your end. It might be on my end. I was having a little bit of some technical difficulties, and that's why I was running a few minutes late. So hopefully it comes back on and you can catch and didn't miss anything. If anything, you can come back on the replay after we're done and catch up, but I'm hoping that it has fixed itself. Hi, Kimberly. I see that you made a memory quilt with your late brother's t-shirts. I think those are some of the most sentimental quilts. And it says you'll post pictures when you're finished. I really hope that you do. I would love to see it. We all would love to see it. So I hope that you can post pictures, even if you want to post progress pictures as you go along. I really enjoy those too. Just making sure I haven't missed anything. Hello, everybody. If you're just joining us, we did a slideshow. We had 3 pictures to show tonight, and we have 6 topics, and we've covered 3 of them. The 3 that we've covered you can see on the screen, and if you missed anything up until now, you can catch it on the replay. And if you're catching this maybe tomorrow, the live video has the little red box up at the top that says live. So if you don't see that, you're watching the replay, but we still want you to say hello, type where you're from, and feel free to share in the comments section where you live and maybe the project you're working on. And we would all love to hear from you. So we can go ahead and move on to topic number 4. How's this working out? I think I've maybe got the hang of it. We'll see. Okay, this past week, our topic number 4 is the 4 new videos that I posted on YouTube last week. So last Monday, we talked about some topics, and I had some video ideas, and I had time last week, some really creative, fun time. They weren't necessarily quilting videos, but maybe there were some kind of inspirational kind of videos and just fun to watch. We did some paper beads. I used my new tools from Julie in that video. I did some foiling with a laminator and a laser printer. That is addicting. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and give that a watch and see if you don't find yourself foiling about everything on your desk. And then I did my second quilt label video on my channel. there's a playlist section, and I try to group all like videos within a playlist, and I've started a playlist for quilt label ideas. And as I'm able to film videos for different ways to make quilt labels, I'm going to put it in that playlist. And so there's video number 2 that I posted last week. That was a lot of fun with raw edge applique and using stamped images. And so that was a really fun and fast way to make a quilt label, especially if you don't have an embroidery machine and you're looking for alternative ways to make a quilt label that's one of a kind. Give that video a look. And then we did a scan and cut video because we had some requests on that. So I look forward to doing other scan and cut videos. That was one that we did on direct cutting with an offset. And so there's so many other topics that we could talk about, but we started there. And so I'm hoping that that gave you some ideas on how to use that feature of the machine. And if you're looking at purchasing a cutting machine, maybe that gave you some ideas on how the Brother works versus other machines, because I really feel like it's an investment and you should make an informed decision when you are, you know, planning on purchasing a cutter, because there's several cutters out there and they all do wonderful jobs. They all work a little bit different. And so if you don't have a cutter, I still encourage you to watch the video because we share some fun projects in that video as well. So that is our topic number 4, and I really feel like we're flying through this. Although no, it's been 30 minutes. All right, let's move on to topic number 5. We're going to talk about my family tree quilt for a second. Because several of you, okay, I was doing some testing videos this past week, so I was just grabbing pictures that I had saved on my computer, and we were testing out the slideshow and all that, and one of them was my family tree quilt. And I did that quilt a couple years ago, and that was a quilt that I did on commission for a client, and she gave me several pictures of her family, and the families were grouped, and so I think there were like 8 or 9 photos in that quilt, and she wanted to give that quilt to her grandfather for Christmas. Now there is no pattern for that quilt, and I probably could never reproduce that because I drew that quilt out as I went along. And sorry, I have a hair that's itching my eye. So what I've been thinking about, since y'all have asked if we could do the family tree quilt, is to do another family tree quilt, but a little bit different, because I don't want to bore you, but I'll just walk through how I did it. Everything was done on the long arm. Okay, the first thing I did is I loaded the back on the frame, then I loaded my batting on top of the backing. And then I purchased, it was like 4 yards of 108 brown fabric. So it was like a king size sheet, really. That's how big it was, of brown. And I laid that down on top of the batting. And then I bought the 4 yards of, it was like a sky blue 108 fabric. And I laid that on top of the brown. So what it was really like was having 2 quilt tops, like a whole cloth quilt, except nothing was on it. It was just blank fabric, a layer of brown and a layer of blue. And then I came in with a heat erasing pen and I just started drawing a tree shape. And then once I could only do so much on the frame because you only have so much working space at a time before you advance the quilt. I did the top portion of the tree, drew it out, and then I came in with the long arm and I stitched around everywhere that I drew the tree shape. And then very carefully came in with some applique scissors and cut inside the tree shape, revealing everything that you see brown on that quilt. So the brown tree limbs and the leaves, I went in with a pair of applique scissors and removed the blue fabric within that shape. Pardon me. So it was a little bit complicated. However, there are videos on that, and it probably has a specific name for that technique. I'll do some searching on YouTube because I did not invent that technique. I saw someone else do it, and I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but I saw her do it a couple years ago, and so I just used the same technique with a tree shape. Now I think we could convert that away from the long arm and do that on our sit-down machines. And so I'm thinking that we could redo the family quilt on a smaller scale and use our domestic machines. And I think that would be fun. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments section. Let me take a sip of this before I forget, because many of you have asked if I would show you how I did that. To be completely honest, I have no desire to recreate that quilt on my long arm because it took a long time. But I think if we broke it down on a smaller scale and did it with our regular sewing machines, that we all could do it, and it would be manageable for everybody. So that is something that is in the works, is recreating the family tree quilt. So that's our topic number 5. Before I check comments, let's go ahead and move on to topic number 6, and we'll get those all on the board. Topic number 6 was from Diane, and she asked about using Versamark ink pads and stamps with the laminator. I'm guessing that you watched my laminating video with the laser printer, and I'm guessing that you're wondering if that would work if you took a stamp and used the Versamark clear ink and then put the foil on there and through the laminator. And being honest, I have no idea, but I'm willing to give it a try. This laminating stuff with the foiling is totally new to me, although it's been out there, excuse me, for a long time. It's just something new to me, and I was passing that along. But I'm willing to investigate that. But right before we came on, I did go over to YouTube, and I'm going to post 2 links on our page. And the first one was someone who used the Versamark and clear embossing powder and foil to laminate her stamps. And then there's another video that I'm going to post, and I wasn't able to watch the whole video, but she shows several different ways to foil with a laminator and without a laminator. And I thought that was pretty interesting, and maybe there's some good tips in that, and maybe they cover that in that video. I couldn't watch the whole thing right before we started tonight. So I will be posting those 2 links on our page, and I'm really hoping that one of those 2 videos answers your question. I know the first one won't, because she was doing something different with the Versamark and stamps. She was using her heat gun. So she did not use a laminator in that video. But the second video shows several different ways to foil something with and without a laminator. So maybe she covers it in that video. We'll see. I'm going to watch the whole thing later on this evening or tomorrow morning. So I don't know. It's something to investigate. If that video doesn't answer the question, I might just pull out some Versamark and run it through my laminator and see what happens. I don't know. The laminator was $19. If it messes up, I don't think it would mess up. But if it does, I'll just get a new one. I don't know. I'll do some investigating this week and we'll see what happens. So those are our 6 topics for our chat tonight. Let me start looking down and see if you have any questions that maybe we can go over. So there's 47 comments. Catherine, you are watching and prepared for the storm. Good. Be prepared. Keep an eye on your weather. And if they say evacuate, then I hope you listen. And, you know, lost and damaged things can be replaced. Your life is irreplaceable and important. So we hope that you listen to your weather forecasters and, you know, listen to their warnings and follow instructions. In my quilting room, in my studio, I say there's no rules, but when things are, you know, serious like that, I say if they tell you to do something, then you should listen. Olive says, I'm doing my first ever wall hanging quilt. It was a free pattern, but no directions on what goes in the middle and how to hang it. Olive, I hope that maybe you can post some pictures. One thing that I really love about this group is that if I don't know the answer, there's someone here that probably does or that can point you in the right direction. And so if you post your pictures on the group, you know, take a picture of where you are on the quilt and say, how do I proceed from here? Or what do you think about doing this? How should I hang this quilt? More than likely, you know, you'll have at least one person come on and give you some advice or some directions. So post some pictures. Melanie says she's working on her first t-shirt quilt for her husband. That's awesome. I'm hoping, Melanie, that you share your pictures. Maureen is working on English paper piecing a carpenter star. That is another thing that I wish I had the patience to do. I love to sit in the evenings and work on stuff, but it's usually something that I can finish in a couple nights because my projects have to move quick or I lose interest. I've always wanted to do English paper piecing, so I'm hoping that as time goes by, just like the hand quilting, I'm starting to really develop like a longing to want to learn how to do it. I'm hoping that I get that longing for paper piecing, because when I feel like that, then the patience is there. I know that sounds weird, but that's just how it goes with me. I'm hoping you'll share pictures of that. Hi, Jan. Hello, Jan's kids. Yeah, Jan, you'll have to start from the very beginning. We shared 3 pictures and a slideshow, so I figured out how to do that. And so I'm hoping next week that y'all can send some more pictures in, so we'll have more pictures to share. Yes, reverse applique. That is the name of the technique I did for the fam. Thank you so much. When I'm put on spot, I can't remember stuff. And there's a quilter who, I want to say her name is Linda. I'll find her and post a video. But Linda Taylor, something like that. I think it's Linda Taylor did reverse applique. And I loved the technique. And so that's what I did with the family tree quilt. Yeah, Jan, we'll do it on the regular machine because there's so many people who want to make it, and I want it to be a project that everybody can do. So that's what we'll do with that. Let me just scroll up. I know I'm looking down. And if I miss your comment, I am really, really sorry. I would never intentionally ignore you. So I just hope you know that. So yes, if you missed the slideshow, I hope that when I hit finish, you'll go back and you'll see the 3 photos that were sent in. As we close up for tonight, just know that if you've posted questions and I've missed them during our live video, I do go back and I check them before I go to bed, and I try to answer your questions. And I'll check again in the morning if something else comes in, and I try to stay active and I try to get to all of you. And just know that I'm so thankful that you're joining in and spending time with us tonight. As we close tonight, I just want to let you know that I absolutely love this group. In a week's time, I have seen several t-shirt quilts come through, and many of you, it was your very first t-shirt quilt. And let me just tell you how proud I am of you. You know, it takes a lot of courage to cut up memories and to make a quilt with them. And so I am just so proud as I could be of you. And I've enjoyed looking at all of your quilts. And it's so fun to see because a quilter's personality really shines through with their quilts. And it's just been a lot of fun. Plus, I really enjoy it. I'm always one who likes to look at all the different logos and all the different shirts. And so I've really enjoyed this past week because we've had several t-shirt quilts come through. We've had a crazy quilt come through. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you scroll through our group to take a look at that. That was awesome. I've seen an apple harvest applique quilt. It is time for those kinds of quilts, and I really enjoyed looking at that. And I was actually inspired by that to start thinking of like Thanksgiving kind of projects, which I am way far behind on. I really need to get busy on that. We've had a butterfly quilt. We've had some baby quilts posted, quilts made with handkerchiefs. Let's see, Bonnie finished her quilt. I'm so happy for you, Bonnie. I saw that come through, and I'm so glad you got that done, and I'm just absolutely thrilled for you. We've had posts about teaching younger generations how to sew, and I really wish my daughters really wanted to learn. I'm still hoping that they'll get, you know, a desire to learn because I would love to sit down and teach them how to do it. But I love that you're teaching the younger generations how to sew and use a sewing machine, how to make quilts, all of that stuff. Colleen finished her applique tea quilt. Now, if you haven't seen that, I really suggest you scroll through and check out Colleen's quilt. I love the color, the blue and white, and the tea theme. Your quilt turned out perfect. We've had Bargello quilts. We've had new pressing boards. You've made your own pressing boards. I'm so happy for you. That saves so much money, and it's something that you're going to use every time you sew. So that is awesome. Trapunto work has been posted. Vicki did an art quilt with the lighthouse. Awesome technique. I hope you check that out. We've had table runners, applique quilts. We've had people learning how to do free motion quilting work, and that takes a lot of patience. And let me just tell you, do not get discouraged. You get better and better as you go along. And so just keep on going. Put on some music if you need to. If music is something that relaxes you, put on some music and sort of relax and breathe and keep going. We've had people get new embroidery machines, new sewing machines this past week. How exciting is that? And we've had pictures of journals, and there's probably other stuff that I've missed. That was just me jotting down real quick before we started just some of this stuff in this past week. So how awesome is that? That we can share all of this stuff in one place. And we've had a lot of technical questions asked, and usually there's always answers or someone giving direction on where to go to look. Excuse me. And so I really love how everyone comes together and helps everyone else out. You know, I belong to several other groups, not just quilting groups, but all kinds of genre of artsy groups. And some of the groups can feel sort of competitive. And sometimes even intimidated to share my work on some groups, and I don't feel like this group is like that. I feel like if you have a question, it's a safe place to ask, because there's never any dumb or stupid questions. And I've always been a firm believer of that. So let me just check before we log off for tonight. Again, if you're on the East Coast, I hope you're preparing for the storm, that you keep us updated on how it's going, where you live, and I hope you all stay safe. Ooh, Barbara says I talked her into getting a brother scan and cut. Yes! My goal has come to fruition. I'm just kidding, Barbara, but seriously, I think you're going to love it. Now, just to let you know, when you first get it, it's intimidating. We've all felt that when we first got it, but soon as you start just diving into it, I think you're really going to love it. So she's going to Hobby Lobby Saturday and looking for stamps and ink pads. You found permanent fabric pads of all colors. Isn't that awesome? You can create your own one-of-a-kind fabric. I love that. Bonnie says she's been on the replay video. How did you do that? I have no idea how you did that. So just to let you know, as we're closing, if you've just joined us, the little red box up at the top, if you see that and it says live, then you're catching the live video. If you don't see that little live red box, then you're catching the replay. And we're going to try to stay on schedule with every Monday at 8 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. So I don't really know the conversions of all the different time zones, but you can look that up and then plan to hang out with us next Monday. That would be fun. Jan, you're so welcome. Happy birthday. I hope you had some cake and blew out a candle and made a wish, and that today was awesome for you. I would sing, but no one would ever watch my live videos again. So I can't tell if I'm looking at comments I've already looked at or if these are new. Suzanne, the t-shirt quilts are so awesome. They're my favorite kinds of quilts, and I love doing patchwork. But the sentimental value in a t-shirt quilt, you just can't replace that. So, and I love the reaction when someone gets their t-shirt quilt. That really is what makes it for me. So, still can't get started on my memory quilt. It's so hard to start, and I totally understand that. I've had and I don't really like to talk about my clients because I feel like their stories are private, but I've had many families come to me for me to make them a memory quilt. I've had some families who could do it right away, and then I've had some families who have had the clothing for up to 10 years before they could actually start the process of doing something with the clothing. And I'll just sit and cry with them. They don't cry alone in my presence, but it's almost like a healing process too, as they, give me the shirts, they talk about them, we go through the shirts, and it's not just shirts. I've used jeans, I've used jackets, I've used ponchos, I've used blankets, all kinds of stuff. And when they pick up that quilt, it's like another level of healing, and now they have something tangible that they can hold on to. And so, there's really no set time on how long it takes for someone to get to that point. And really, I think that's the hardest part, is getting there and starting. And whether it's you're making the quilt yourself or giving it to someone like me to make it for you, that's the hardest part. After that, it's so rewarding, and you'll be glad that you started, because you're going to have that quilt, something to hold on to display, to look at, to share with other people. So I think you'll be really happy that you've started. But I totally get it, because I've heard it from so many families. So you're not alone in the start, how hard it is to start. Bonnie's been ripping some seams out in her quilt. I'm sorry. We've all been there too. That is, I don't think anybody enjoys that process. Debbie is working on a Quilts of Valor. Debbie, I hope you share pictures of that. Jan says she's off work for 2 more days, so she gets to spend time in her sewing room. Well, that's an awesome birthday present. I hope you enjoy your time and that the 2 days go by slowly. I feel like this whole year has gone by in the blink of an eye, and I'm not exaggerating. It seems just like the other day it was January, and here we are in September. So I hope your 2 days go by slow and you can enjoy them. If I have missed your comment, know that I will go back and check it. And that I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad we have time to hang out and spend time with one another. And one more time, because I always repeat myself, you know that from watching my videos, go back if you've joined us after we've started and catch the beginning of this video, because I shared 3 pictures. And I think I did really good with going through all the different screens. We will go back to the home screen as we close. See, I'm getting the hang of it. So I hope you all have a fantastic week. We're just starting out. We have a storm coming. Please be safe. Please, if you have pictures throughout your week of not just quilting stuff, but anything, I hope that you can come and ask your questions, and that we can help you move on in your project this week. And if you're finishing up a project, share it with us, because we'd love to celebrate with you. And if you have a birthday and I've missed it, happy birthday. And everybody say happy birthday, Mom, to my mom. She's watching downstairs. Okay, I cannot wait to do this again next Monday. I will put a post up next Monday morning. I hope that you share your pictures in that post, so we'll have them in our slideshow next week. And if you have topics, save them, put them on a post-it note by your machines or by your computers, so that you can post it in that post next Monday morning, and we can use it as a topic in our video. Okay, everybody, I think my coffee has gotten cold. I'm going to go drink this down and check all your comments, and I'm going to post 2 links to some foiling videos. I'm hoping that they're helpful, and if not, I'm going to do some experimenting this week, okay? Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I really enjoy this time with you. We will see you all sometime this week. Bye, everybody. Now find the finish button. Okay, bye.